And we're coming to you live for the Built Forward Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fans. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you're on the free Odyssey app. Good Wednesday morning. Boomer will be back tomorrow. That means that Jerry is here again in CeeLo on the updates. Good morning, Jerry. What's happening?
Gee, good morning to you. Is it Wednesday?
It is Wednesday.
Nice to see you, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Everything blending together, of course, during this long winter, but the sports news cycle never ceases to amaze, as there is always something out there that you didn't expect or didn't see or never thought was coming, and that was what happened yesterday with this Tony Clark situation. And, normally the labor negotiations and baseball and the collective bargaining agreement, that stuff I hate talking about, and we're going to have to talk a ton about it coming up because of what may happen with a work stoppage. But then you see the details of why Tony Clark, the MLBPA head, has to step down, and all of a sudden it becomes this scandalous story, as there was a whistleblower that said, hey, some weird stuff is going on here. There's some nepotism. There's some money that's missing, and an investigation happens, an internal investigation. Not only do they find out there's some money missing, there's some nepotism, but Tony Clark is having an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law.
That's a rough one. Happy Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Right.
I think about the week that this gets blown out on. Good God.
I know. That's another part of it, too. It's like, I'll never forget that it was, you talk about the news cycle and Friday news dump stuff.
Yeah.
So I was in the newsroom, and it was right after Imus said the thing he said about the Rutgers women's basketball team.
Yeah.
And there was a person in the newsroom who had been in radio for a long time and said it was Friday that he was looking at the paper, and it was a blurb in the paper. And he goes, I still haven't figured out if this is a good thing or a bad thing for him.
Meaning?
That he was getting a lot of attention about this particular thing, and he hadn't gotten that type of attention in a while.
Yeah.
But then it ended up blowing up because there was nothing else going on.
Oh, yeah.
As we've talked about before, that Virginia Tech shooting, that horrible tragedy down there, happened like a week later. If it happened the next day, maybe
people wouldn't have seen it.
Maybe we're all not here.
Yeah, well, that's very true. Everything changes. There's
At least
no
not as early as a new show started, right?
Yeah, no, you're not wrong about that.
So Tony Clark's probably thinking like, oh, great. I mean, this couldn't have come out the same day that the Epstein files came out. Like this, why is this happening now when nothing is going on in the sports world?
You are probably right about that, though. I think his marriage is probably still over, and he probably still does resign. It just would have been a little less noise around it.
Oh, of course, yeah, yes. There's no doubt about it. That all those things would have happened, but it's just that now everybody's talking about it, where this would have been, just a bit of a conversation, as opposed to if it's the day after the Super Bowl, we're talking about it a little bit.
Sure.
But a lot of people are, of course, consuming it now. And I asked the same question to Gina yesterday that Al asked CeeLo this morning on the warm-up show that a lot of people, I'm sure, have asked. Is it worse to bang your brother's wife or your wife's sister?
I don't think it matters.
I think it does.
Both terrible.
Now, it's hard for me because now, do you have both? Do you have a wife, sister, and a brother, wife?
No.
You don't. All right. So I don't have both either because I'm an only child. Does anybody have both? So what I have is I've got two sister-in-laws. Mm-hmm. One that I've talked about on this show, the naked sister-in-law, who would walk around, and she stayed with us for 6 weeks, and I'd come home from work, and she liked to be naked in the house, and she didn't know I was there. I would catch her naked in the house and say, I didn't know you came home. I'll put some clothes on. She
Thank you.
She's just a free spirit type of person, whatever. So, I think because we have the situation we have, where I have two sister-in-laws, it felt worse to us if it was that situation. But then, if you think about it, like, if you have a brother, I don't have a brother, but if you have a brother.
I do. He's just not married.
And then you're with his wife.
They're both horrible.
Really bad betrayals.
To me, it's 6 to 1 half to, because you break the bond with your brother.
Yeah.
That's the first. I mean, that's a problem. That's a big problem. You could even I might even say that's worse, because he's your brother. At least, no disrespect to married people, I'm one of them. If you do that, She's your wife. You get divorced. You move on, I suppose.
Yeah.
Your brother's always your brother.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think it's worse if you do it to your brother.
Yeah, I think, and that's what it was. So Tony Clark's brother's wife is the one that got hired and the one they had an inappropriate relationship with. And we don't know the full details of it, but it's enough for him to step down. An inappropriate relationship generally means, that they're doing it. They're doing it, and doing it, and doing it well.
So I think just think about how you ruin everything.
Oh yeah.
Like again, you get divorced, you move on, your life is turned upside down for sure for a year, 2, whatever it might take. Your life, it's your brother. That's forever.
And those two have to get together now forever.
That's what I mean.
Tony Clark and the sister-in-law now have to go in, and because I mean, if this was just like they got to be really in love with one another if they risked it all, family and profession, for this relationship. They must really, really like one another, or they're just both really stupid, which I don't think that Tony Clark is.
Right. So you got your job is now gone. Your reputation is kind of in the mud. Your family probably hates you at this point. Move to the Dominican Republic or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you go about. You have to apologize to everybody, and it would be ongoing. It's just a bad situation across the board.
Yeah.
No, both of them, by the way, not just him.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. And at first, giving her a job and people having issues with that in the MLBPA, and then all of a sudden you find out that it's more than just that.
I mean, a lot of people get on me because we always talk about the trust and belief crap.
Yeah.
Like if you can't trust your brother.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, of course.
Come on.
It's exactly.
I mean, his brother probably thinks, gave my wife a job. It's great. Why would you ever think anything like that?
Well, yeah,
ever.
Of course. I mean, and I'd love to know some of the inner details. Like, did she have any idea? The Tony Clark's wife, that is. Any idea that this was going on, or Tony Clark's brother? Was there any inclination, or did it just hit them like a ton of bricks yesterday or whenever they found out? Is there any way that you could sell to your wife, hey, listen, I mean, it's your sister. It's the same genes.
No.
It just means that it's someone who's close to you.
God, no. Are you out of your mind?
I'm laughing through it,
No,
obviously.
but everybody's different.
Yeah.
Like, there are some people that have a very open marriage. And I don't know. Maybe they are. I have no idea. There are people that...
Okay, there's open marriage, and then there's,
I'm agreeing. I
borderline
agree with you.
incest.
What I'm saying is there are some people that believe in do whatever the hell you want as long as you come home at night. That's not me, and I don't think that's you, and I don't think it's a lot of people. So, no, I could not sell that to my wife. I don't believe so. No.
You're like, I mean, look.
Could you?
No, of course not.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. That's why when I started the question, I couldn't even barely get it out. But yeah, as I put out on X yesterday, he went full Pornhub category. Like the sister-in-law is a category. Now, it's not as popular as the stepsister. The stepsister is the real one that everybody, goes for. But the sister-in-law one is definitely up there as well.
I could not believe it when I was reading it. And I know I shouldn't put anything past anybody anymore. And I don't know any of these people. It just still seems so far-fetched. A, you throw your career away. B, you throw your family away. And C, are you now going to be with this woman, or is that going to be over as well? And D, do any of these people try to mend fences and move on?
Yeah, and you do this, or this comes out just about, within the calendar year of the biggest moment of your job's career, if that makes sense, or your career in your particular profession.
Yeah.
Because in December, the CBA expires, and this is one of the more important ones, dating all the way back to, of course, the strike in 94. And in 2022, there were some issues, as we know, and some games they had to jam in all the games and all the craziness that went on there. But I do think that, in spring training and whatever happened, I can't even remember specifically, but I know that they did not start on time and things were bleeding into spring training.
Yeah, I don't think they
had
had the agreement until mid-March or something like that, or maybe late March. So it took a little bit, but they did get the season in.
Right, before, so they got the season in, and this one feels bigger than that. So that's why it's a bigger deal than just a salacious sort of story that everybody wants to talk about because it involves the things that it involves. But I really don't think that this particular thing with Tony Clark is going to impact these negotiations either positively or negatively. which was a talking point yesterday, and I understand why. But first of all, we're sitting here at the end of February. This isn't 2 days before the CBA expires.
Bingo.
There's a lot of time to figure that out. And also, you've got a player council. It's either 8 or 9 players of this executive player council in the MLBPA who are the ones that are really going to be telling whoever the director is what they want. They've got a major say. And plus, there's a guy who was working right underneath, no pun intended, I guess, of Tony Clark, Bruce Meyer, who everybody that's in baseball, I don't know a thing about him, but everybody that covers baseball says that he's most likely to take over, and he's well respected, and he was part of the negotiations, and if not, did more than Tony Clark back in 2022.
Yeah, I think what you said at the beginning is right. If this would have happened in November, maybe it's an issue. Now, I don't think it's anything. I think it's more in line with what you said about, 2022 felt like a temporary agreement. I know it's 5 years, but it felt like a temporary agreement for the most part. This one does seem like it's going to be a major issue, and this one does seem like we could miss games, possibly a season, but it also could be the agreement that sets baseball in a different direction for a very long time to come, which could have cemented Tony Clark's name in the annals, as some would say. And now he is now removed from the fold. So, yeah, it's going to be a big moment for Bruce Meyer, if that is indeed who it is going to be. And I do agree, this is salacious. I don't think it means anything in terms of negotiations at all going forward.
I wonder if the people over at Major League Baseball, who they know they're going to be in this fight with the Players Association, like they're calling up Bruce Meyer or someone over at the Players Association, go, hey, you're right over there.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
I'm sure they're basking in that. You see this?
Sure, yeah.
You guys got your stuff together or what?
Yeah. I mean, all is fair, right? I mean, why not?
Yeah,
little jab, no doubt.
And it's gonna be nasty, and I can't imagine that this thing is going to be easily resolved because the owners want a salary cap, and the players have said forever, ever since I started paying attention to baseball business, probably in high school, that they will never, ever, ever accept a salary cap.
The biggest problem is the Dodgers, who play by the rules, kind of this fakakta contract with Shohei Ohtani. I actually believe, and this is just my opinion, I don't think this would be an issue if the Dodgers weren't spending $4 billion a year on payroll. Yeah, Steve Cohen might spend more for sure, but the Mets haven't been proven to be this perennial winner. And the Yankees they play by the rules with the threshold. So it seems to be working for 28 teams. I think it's the salary floor is the bigger issue, but because of what the Dodgers are doing, teams feel like they're in a completely different stratosphere, and I do think it's going to be salary cap or nothing, which is why I don't think there'll be baseball next year.
I always bust Boomer's balls about him bringing up the consortium of billionaires that own the Dodgers. He loves that consortium of billionaires. But really, it is, and the bigger issue is not how much money they spend. It's the fact that they don't care about the competitive balance tax bill.
Nope.
Like Steve Cohen, even though he spends a lot, still cares about that.
Yeah.
And he won't go way above and beyond it and pay penalties that are insane to him because he's a money guy. And we've seen what Hal Steinbrenner does. I mean, and Hal Steinbrenner says, no, we're not even paying. We're not going above this at all. I'm not touching that. I'm not paying money to go into the pot with the revenue sharing and all these other teams that aren't trying. I'm not doing it.
Which is why it was what it was designed to do.
Right. But the Dodgers and all these
Correct.
billionaires that they have, they don't care about that tax bill.
Right.
And they feel like they can make that money up and still have a profitable business, and all of the Japanese players and the fact that it's a global brand at this point. So it's it's really them. It is. And, I don't know how much, like if you're thinking about, and there's been numbers that have been thrown out there by people about what the cap, the top number would be and the floor number would be, that it would be impossible.
But let's just say, for instance, the Dodgers weren't doing what they do. And let's say they played by the rules the way the Yankees are using that threshold. If you want to go over it a little bit, so be it. You're going to pay a pretty high tax. But they're doing it the way and what it was designed to do. And let's say you forget a salary cap. You kept it where it was. Maybe you raised the threshold a little bit, fine. But then you put a floor in of, I think the Marlins payroll this year is $68 million. Let's say you put a floor in. Now, you made these owners spend $160 million. I'm not saying 250, 150, $160 million. All of a sudden, the idea of keeping Paul Skeens in Pittsburgh is a very real possibility for a Pirates fan. And you do have money to spend. Yeah, the payrolls are going to be bigger for the bigger market teams, but it does close the gap. And I do believe baseball, as much as any other sport, if you close the gap a little bit, it does allow teams, if they make smart decisions, to compete. The Rays have been doing a lot with nothing for years. They're obviously the minority, but I do think the floor is the bigger issue if it wasn't for what the Dodgers are doing by just blowing through and making up their own rules as they go.
Yeah, absolutely. So the to me, if they could force, which you can't, but if you could force the teams like the Pirates and the Royals and some of these lower teams that aren't making a lot of money to spend the money that they're getting from the CBT tax and the revenue sharing on the roster, that would solve some things too, because the way the system is now, I mean, there is no incentive for an owner of one of these lower-rung teams in these smaller markets to put the money back into the team because the competitive balance of the league is so fakakted.
Sure.
So if you're an owner, if you're Bob Nutting, as I mentioned before, in Pittsburgh, you're taking that money, you're putting it in your pocket because you're putting it into the team. You know, it's not going to really go anywhere because you don't think you're going to be able to make money. So you decide to take it, and it's profitable for them. So they're not losing money.
Right. And so now if you have a system that allows them, I understand the Dodgers are on an island on their own right now. It's just the way it is. And the Mets obviously spend a lot too. But if you created a system that at least makes it a realistic possibility for these other teams to reach the postseason, now you would think a better record, you would have higher attendance, and you're selling postseason tickets. Everything goes up dramatically, and you're putting more money into your team to get a better product. I think there are ways to do this without the hard salary cap that the players are never going to accept, and I think everybody would win. But you got to get these two sides in the room and actually, talk it out and figure it out. And I don't know how long it's going to take to get there.
Yeah, if you think about the luxury tax and how much money the Dodgers spend, the Mets spend, the Yankees spend a little bit, 50% of those millions and millions of dollars, like it's over $100 million for just the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Like it's 50% of that gets distributed to the non-CBT paying teams.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's plus the revenue sharing on top of it that they agreed to.
Do you think there's a number in terms of tax where the Dodgers would be like, all right, this is stupid?
No. I mean, unless, well, I can't give you that number, but really what it is once it exceeds the number of profit that they're bringing in to a point where they're uncomfortable with it. That's really what it is. I mean, and as long as they're selling out, they got the massive TV deal and the fact that they've got all of Japan eating out of their hands.
I know.
It's just never going.
I guess I come back to what you said about Steve Cohen. At the end of the day, business is still business. And, like, let's say the tax was dollar for dollar. Like, all of it wasn't 50%, but if all of a sudden the threshold, I don't know what it would be going forward, but let's say the threshold goes to $350. All right, fair. I think it's $300 now, right?
Yeah.
So let's say it goes to $350, and the Dodgers want to spend $600 million on their roster, and all of a sudden, dollar for dollar, they got to put out $250 million extra. That's not good business.
No.
It's just not. And then, the other thing, too, in terms of what they've done, you've got to create new rules to not allow them to push contracts 30 years into the future and manipulate the number. The number should be what the number is.
Yeah, it's a $169 million luxury tax bill just for the Dodgers.
All right, so maybe $250 million wouldn't be enough.
Yeah,
dollar for dollar.
I mean, it's crazy. It's sort of what the Warriors did with the soft cap in the NBA is to keep their dynasty and continue to do what they were doing. They paid hundreds of millions in tax bills, and it was worth it for them.